So, are you trying to push your students to extend the learning outside of your classroom, but we're in the middle of a pandemic, or the campus budget is a little bit low, and so you can't really afford to take a trip? Are you looking to create opportunities for students to connect your content to the real world? But again, we can't take them outside the classroom right now. So what do you do? Or are you even looking for ways to go visit some of your favorite museums, not only in your home state or your city, but across the nation or across the world? But still, what do you do? Well, I got something for you that I ran into. So I want to show you guys Google Arts and Culture. So I am going to share my screen with you. And so that way we can pull up Google Arts and Culture. So what you will have to do, and I feel so blessed that I ran into this yesterday. So you will go arts and culture.google.com, and voila, voila, it's here. Google Arts and Culture. And so I am a history nerd. Like I love history. And I love to go to museums. I just love to be in the space. But there are certain museums that because of my location, I can't always get to. One of those is the African American History and Culture Museum, right? So if you go to artsandculture.google.com, you can pretty much search what you're looking for when is related to arts and culture, and it will pull it up for you. So I am looking for African American history. Okay. And so when I hit my search menu, it is going to pull up stuff related to African American culture, from exhibits to famous portraits, to stories, anything just related to African American history and culture. But for this particular YouTube video, we're focusing on how we can use arts and culture Google to create authentic field lessons for our students, because field lessons is a part of authentic learning, and authentic learning is required for culture responsive classrooms and schools, or for your classroom or school to be truly culture responsive. So I want to go to the Smithsonian. Now, what I'm thinking about is how can I design a field lesson type experience um, for my students, but it's a virtual field lesson type experience. So this is what I'm thinking. I need you guys to get with me. So first, the first thing we need to do is look at our objective and our goal. Okay. What do I want students to be able to accomplish through this field lesson experience? Okay. So objective and goals first. The second thing is then I'm going to plan my lesson out. How am I going to particularly use the National Museum for African American History and Culture to create a authentic lesson for my students, where again they are extending the learning beyond the classroom, and they're able to make real world connections to content area that I teach, and then content areas that there are other content areas. So first, objective, goal of lesson. Second, lesson plan. Then third thing we need to do is come up with a management plan. Okay. So I want to make sure that this experience is beneficial to all students, and that they walk away with some type of relevant learning that happened and took place as a result of this. Okay. So with my management plan for a virtual classroom, it's pretty much what exhibits I'm going to have my students look at. What do I want them to do while they are in that exhibit? What do I want them to take away from that exhibit? And how do I want them to demonstrate the knowledge learned from, or what was gained from, that exhibit? So it's still the same content. What content do I want to cover? What is the process? How are they going to go through that? And then what is the product? What are they going to produce? Okay. So what is your management plan? Included in your management plan are your logistics. Okay. So how are you going to set this up? And so one of the tips that I would like to throw out there for a virtual museum tour, or virtual museum guide to make it relevant, is bring parents into it. So with your logistics, like if we had 5 online exhibits, how can I tap into 5 parents and have those 5 parents show up and support the class as virtual tour guides? And so, what this would look like is that I would have 5 different breakout rooms, and students would rotate to those breakout rooms, and it could be over a series of days. And so students rotate to those breakout rooms, and the parents within those breakout rooms, they will serve as the facilitator of learning slash tour guide. Now, the way this can work is you can give the parent a certain task or questions or discussion points that you want them to focus on as they have students go through that online exhibit, or you can have parents go through the online exhibit and then have them come up with what do they want to engage students in a conversation about, from what they learned with that online exhibit. So you can have parents do that. You could also have students, and so tap into, for example, 5 students and have 5 students go through and look at what each exhibit is focusing on, and when they take their classmates on a tour of this exhibit, what do they want their classmates to tap into, to look further into? What can they teach their classmates about? How can they tap into the funds and knowledge that their classmates possess? So those are just some ways to kind of think about the logistics. And then most importantly, the learning. So how are they going to demonstrate knowledge? How are they going to acquire knowledge from this? And then how are they going to be able to produce something to show what they have gained from this experience? I love to just pretty much put that into the student's hands. Your responsibility, your task is show me what you learned. What are your key takeaways? What can you do with this information? I always ask that. What are your key takeaways and what can you do with this information? And sometimes that can be as simple as here's a Venn diagram, and from the Venn diagram, you give me your 3 to 5 key takeaways, and then not a Venn diagram, I'm sorry, a cause and effect chart. So here are my 3 takeaways, and then this is what I can do with these 3 takeaways that I had. You could also have them create their own type of artwork. So, like if we're looking at the historical legacy of Juneteenth, from there, have them create maybe a postcard or a mural, a song, a poem, a rap, maybe a digital story, a visual board that shows what they learned from that online exhibit. So my key points are that you want to make sure that this is a productive learning experience and opportunity for your students, and that it's a beneficial experience and opportunity for your students. They're not just going to have fun, or that they're not just going to go into a breakout room and sit, shoot the breeze, and then jump out. But that this way you can again connect students to the outside world, extend learning outside of your classroom, and then connect this experience to different content areas. And your students will love that. So, this is just one twisted teaching tip for this week of how to bring Google Arts and Culture into your classroom. I hope that you guys enjoy. I'm going to get back to playing around with Google Arts and Cultures. I got some museums to check out. Bye bye.